Hello Pioneers, in the last episode of our MEGAFACTORY build series, we finally completed the long production chain for alien power matrices, ready to secure that massive power bonus. This episode, we take things even further by designing a facility to house the almighty alien power augmenters. These machines generate an insane amount of energy, so we need a structure that lives up to their epic scale. Can we create a design that truly captures their power? Let's find out. Now that we've got our full alien power matrix production line assembled, pumping out 10 alien power matrices, we can think about putting together a building that can house all our alien power augmenters. Now, if we look at the game of Satisfactory, there are summer sloop on the map and a limited amount of summer sloop, and you can't produce some more. I've got my game set to unlimited building materials, so technically I can build an unlimited amount of power augmenters, but that's not how I want to approach things. I was thinking we would use as many summer sloop as exists on the map. Now I did some research and it looks like that number is 106. Now I'm not entirely cheating because I have gathered most of it. I've got 37 here in my inventory. That was from just gathering it around the world, and we're pretty much using around maybe like 40 or 50 or so in our old factory. So I'm pretty sure I've gathered like 80 to 90 of all the summer sloop on the map. I have gone around most of the map, as you can see, and collected all the hard drives and summer sloop. But I'm not going to go around collecting the rest. We're just going to work with the fact that we have 106 total summer sloop and build according to that. Because if you guys are following along and building, I want you to be able to build a thing that's practical, right? I don't want to just put down 300 alien power augmenters and just be like, yep, that's my power supply. So knowing that, let's go ahead and start building that. So with 106 and each one of these augmenters taking up 10 summer sloop, we can build ourselves a system that essentially has 10 alien power augmenters. And I was thinking about where would we put something like that? And the top of our train cargo thing has a lot of room and is looking a little bit boring and bland. So what if we were to put our 10 alien power augmenters on top of here? I think that would look fantastic. Now we're going to think about what kind of platform we want to use for them. Now each one of these power augmenters kind of sits on this like round-ish platform. So maybe we should start experimenting with circles. Now there's a couple of different ways to build circles. So we can try out a few different building methods. The first building method is basically a perfect circle. So you would start off with a foundation like this. I'm just going to build a quarter of a circle for demonstration. And then you would build out sort of like this. Then you would take one of these and then you would rotate that a little bit by holding control. You should be able to do like a 5-degree rotation. And then you can put that back onto here. And by doing that, you can now pull this out as well. And as you can see, we get a nice little sort of circle style building like this. If we keep doing that, we can eventually get them to meet and it'll be very circular. They don't meet perfectly here. I think you need to go out a little bit more. At some point, they will meet perfectly. Probably around this point. So you can see these two foundations meet almost perfectly with a tiny 1mm gap in between. And if you did that across the whole thing, you'd end up with a circular platform. That's obviously a little bit too big for what I'm trying to do. I kind of need them to meet somewhere in the middle. So you can change the amount of clicks that you do to get that sort of effect. So for example, if we got rid of this secondary thing that we built, we don't want such a big circle. We want something a little bit smaller. So we can maybe click it twice, and with 2 rotations, we can build this out. See how it turns a lot more? Now, the point where this meets perfectly is going to be a little bit closer. It's probably looking like this point over here. And then if we keep doing that, we can see we can get a circle-like style, basically. So we click it another 2 times and then place it down. We can get another sort of spline of our circle and keep building that out. But as you can see, this is like a quarter circle. If I build this out, it would still be pretty massive compared to an alien augmenter. So we might want to turn it even more. So let's try with another turn. I don't need my alien augmenter platform to be that big. So this is turned 4 times. And turning it 4 times, oh, it doesn't even have a good meeting spot. Let's try turning it 3 times. So we'll turn it back once. Kind of, we can get it to be about this size. So it's like 3 tiles out is each quarter circle. But even that is still a little bit big. And I really do want my thing to be blueprintable. So why don't we go into a blueprint, and I don't think this technique is going to work for us, because this circle is a little bit too small for this style of circular building. So we're going to have to do something that fits inside a blueprint designer. So let's pull up a blueprint designer and go with something from there. I'm going to put down my blueprint designer Mark III. Now we'll just start with platforms in the middle. I think we're going to need them to be at least 4 out. Something like this. And that should fit an alien augmenter in the middle. We just hologram that in. We'll center it based on this thing. And there's a ladder over here that tells me it's centered. So roughly like that, right? And then I guess we want our platform to be a little bit bigger than that. So let's just get it out like this. And then we can put in, using road barriers, a circle that sort of meets up there. So we'll use this sort of circular building technique instead. If you're enjoying the video and you want to support Data Engineer Plays, don't forget to leave a like and hit that subscribe button. And if you have any feedback or suggestions, feel free to share them in the comment section. So we'll put one there, and then we'll put one there, and then we should be able to build a perfect platform that joins nicely to that section. And then if we do that one more time, maybe they'll meet up nicely, hopefully. So we'll just turn that once and bring that out. And then we'll put 2 more platforms in here. Like that. And does that join up reasonably well? Yeah, I think that does. Let's get rid of these road barriers. And there's a quarter circle. I think that looks pretty nice. We need to fill in this hole. Or do we need to fill in this hole? Maybe we can just have a hole there in the thing. We'll fill in the hole like that. And there is our quarter circle. So I'm going to do the same thing and build out the rest of the quarter circle. With that done, we have a rounded platform for this thing. I'm not going to call it a perfect circle. If we look at it from above, it's not really a perfect circle. It's kind of just got these weird rounded edges that kind of form into a bit of a corner over here on the diagonals. But I mean, it's close enough to a perfect circle, and it houses the alien power augmenter. Let's paint that black to make sure it doesn't Z-fight too hard. It's not too bad. I mean, there is a little bit of Z-fighting, but unfortunately, I don't think if you're going to go with circles, there's always going to be a little bit of Z-fighting. It's going to get rid of that power augmenter, and then we'll plop it back in. Make sure that's nice and centered. So that's our augmenter blueprint pretty much done. The platform needs a little bit of maybe some lighting or something along the outside. These alien power augmenters are some pretty awesome futuristic technology, and we want to create that futuristic aesthetic to match it. So we're going to add in just some, like, I'm thinking you can do lighting a lot, like a ring along the edge, or what I was thinking is, why don't we do some cool lighting that like comes out of the machine? I reckon that would look pretty sick. Something like this. And then we can just turn it like randomly as it comes out. It sort of like emanates out of the machine and then comes down to the side, and then maybe like crawls down the edge of this machine, and then it sprawls out to the sides in different directions like this. And then it can kind of like come down the side, oh, like that. And then it doesn't like being here, but we can force it in there anyway. And let's just light that up and see what that looks like. Oh yeah, that looks pretty cool, doesn't it? And then if we just do more, just coming out at random angles, I think that would look pretty sick. There's another one. We can probably do some stuff on the side to get them to kind of like meet a little bit, maybe. Get these lights crawling around the sides like this. I think that would look pretty cool if we just get a couple more lights going everywhere. I'm going to put in all the lights and then we'll talk about it when I'm done. Alright, check it out. Here is the alien power platform in all of its glory with all the little lighting effects. I think that looks pretty cool. This fragmented LED beam that's coming out in all wacky directions. I think that gives it a really nice futuristic alien tone to this platform. So we're going to go with that. We're going to save that blueprint now. Give that the alien power augmenter icon. We'll set that directory and we will figure out where we're going to go put those things. Now I'm thinking on top of this construction, this cargo yard for all our trains. Now the reason why I want to do this is because remember when we said we want to build 10 of these, I was thinking, let's count these beams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have exactly 10 beams that we can put these alien power augmenters atop of. So it makes sense to do it here. Now, where would we put them? I'm thinking we would just, I don't know. I had a couple of ideas. One, we could do spires at varying heights all over the roof, and then they'll just come out at varying different heights, and I think that would look pretty cool. But the other thing is, since there's 10, and there's 10 bits on the roof, we might as well just put them all in a line. Do we have a good center point on here is the question. Now, if we look at this roof and we highlight all of these, we have 29. So we do have a singular center point at around the 14 mark. So around here, there's a center point. Let me just paint that in. And then we'll just measure it again because, you know, measure twice, cut once, right? So there's 14 on this side and there's 14 on that side. So this is like a perfect center point. So if we put our alien power augmenter on top of some sort of like pillar that goes up, let's just like chuck it up 10. And then we put our power augmenter atop of this thing. We grab our blueprint. If I put it on blueprint mode, will it just fit in the center of here? Nope. If we line it up, there is my center point. It's very hard to find. That looks centered along this side. Does this thing look centered along this side? Not really. Sorry, this light beam is like throwing me off. But now that looks centered, I think. And it looks centered along here. Chuck that down and have a look at what that looks like. Ah, yeah, that looks pretty cool. Imagine like 10 of these across here. That would be pretty sick. I think we just need a better pillar structure. So for example, I mean, why use these when we've got cool pillar things, right? So if we use the pillar support, for example, instead, and then we did some sort of pillar like this, like a big metal pillar instead, I think that would look pretty sick. Something like that. A much more interesting pillar. And then, oh, I don't know. The support just looks kind of thin compared to the platform. Maybe we can use some architectural elements to help us out, like inverted frame ramps and stuff. We have these. We can definitely chuck these in. Something like this. And we did that on sort of every side. That would look pretty cool. I think we need a blueprint for the pillar, essentially, is what we're saying. So let me go ahead and do that. I just want to know, like, how tall this structure is compared to a pillar. I think it needs to be an even amount of space underneath as above to make it look nice. Oh, that's maybe too much. Maybe we just get the pillar. Like, I just feel like this is just too high. Maybe we'll get the pillars a little bit lower. So I'm going to go create a pillar for this structure and then we can go from there. So I'll clear our blueprint designer and then we'll just start from scratch with a pillar. Put it smack bang in the center here. And then we'll just pick an arbitrary height for them. I think 4 should be more than enough. I don't think I want my thing that high. 4 pillar bits and then we'll close off the top. Now I think we're going to just use lighting for the sides of the pillar because this is all like a big power system. I think it'd be just cool to just put lighting. Just like make everything bright and lit up and just crazy looking, right? So we just light up the entire pillar. Let's just make the entire pillar a glowy, crazy ass looking pillar. And then we will put some of our inverted frame ramps on top of here. Oh, it doesn't like existing here anymore. Make sure they're centered properly. And then we'll just build that up on every single side. Hard to find the right snapping point for these now. Like there, and then just like one more probably out this way. Just to give the whole thing a little bit of structure. That way it doesn't just look like one pillar supporting a giant platform. I think that would look pretty cool. Anything else we want to do to this pillar? I think that looks pretty cool. Let's save that blueprint. Give it a pillar icon. And then we'll chuck that all into my corners section. Now I really need different sections for this. I really need a pillars section. We've built so many pillars and stuff now. One day I will definitely organize all my blueprint bits and bobs. So let's dismantle this now, and then we will dismantle this pillar, and then we'll build it with our blueprints. So we'll grab out our pillar blueprint, and then we'll just chuck it right on here. That is looking like a pretty cool pillar. Now we can grab our augmentor blueprint, and we can put it on top of the pillar. Now in blueprint mode, are you just perfectly sitting on top? That looks centered to me. Are you centered here? I think you are. Nice and easy. It sits perfectly atop this pillar, which makes it nice and easy to build. I like that. And yeah, does that not look like a sick augmentor platform to you? Let's build a couple, and then we'll see what we're missing from this design. Is this in line? It says that's in line. There's a line up here. And we'll build a second one. Oh, we want to make sure our exit point is also facing this direction where our alien power matrices are coming from. But yeah, that looks pretty sick, doesn't it? Imagine having 10 of these along here. I feel like we need some sort of framing along the outside, but we don't want to do like a full wall. So let's figure out a blueprintable frame that we can put along here. So I'm thinking if we use like ramps back to our diagonal structures. So if we use double ramps along here, like say a couple, we'll need to invert the ramp this way. We'll just invert the ramp here. No, I don't want 10 million of them. I just want the one. No, I don't want 3. Thank you. And then we bring the ramp sort of up a fixed amount. Let's go 10. Let's go another little bit up. Maybe like 12. I'm just trying to make this blueprintable for later. And then we bring it back in and over the building. And we just need one more invert ramp to finish it off. What do we think of that? Maybe it needs to be a little bit taller, so we might do it up to like 14 or something like that. So it's 12 at the moment. So we might do up. Yeah. How tall is our blueprint designer? This definitely is not going to fit in one blueprint, is it? Yeah, I don't think so. We might need to make this pillar thing into 2 separate blueprints, like a lower half and an upper half. So let's rebuild this in the blueprint designer, and then we can add like cool lighting on the inside and do all sorts of wacky stuff because it's a blueprint. Let's see what we can do. Before we go and blueprint it, we also need to probably figure out how we're going to get material into here. So we need a ramp that goes in here. So we might as well take the ramp all the way to the wall and come through this wall. So around here somewhere, we would need to build like a pretend wall with a conveyor hole. Something like that. And then does this just go straight in? Oh, beautiful. And then we can build like a lift down here. And then we'll just conveyor belt all the way out here, lift down here. We'll probably bring it through the subfloor up to here, and then we can just put splitters along here. And then in future, when we have enough of these power matrices to power all of our augmenters, then it can just run along here, and I think that would look pretty cool. So let's try to build that into the blueprint. So it goes up 4, and then we need to build the structure on top. Yeah, cool. So I'm going to go to the blueprint machine, and we're going to start building that. So I'll clear this blueprint, and then we'll start building our little side wall bits. It doesn't really matter where I start here. We'll just build one of these, get our double ramp, and I think it was 2 double ramps. Then we need our inverted ramp foundation. And then we go up 4, was it? So there. I think, let me just go measure it again. Yeah, we got 4, and then we got to build our little wall thing. Let me just keep going up. 5, 6, 7. And we'll just cut out this middle one. And then we'll build our walls. Get our conveyor walls in. And we'll even build the lift in the blueprint. So make sure it goes the right way though. We want it to go that way. Great, that makes it a bit easier to build later. And now we can build, well, we're not going to build the top bit, but we should color this in. It'll probably be black. And does that wall fit nicely? I think it looks all right. We'll have to maybe decorate it with some lights. The interior light can just be this, I think. So we just grab small billboards again. There, and it goes up to there and there. That one's a little bit offset. That's pretty cool. I'd love the light to go on these diagonals, but as you know, you can't control hold a billboard or any sign on a diagonal. To build on the diagonal, it's a little bit janky. We're going to need the help of our pillars. So we go to the center of our pillar and then we bring it down diagonally to here. And then we should be able to layer a thing here as a snapping point. Like that. Probably want it to intersect a little bit in here so it looks like it's continuous light. I'd love it to be offset down half a tile, but I don't think that's possible. So it's just going to have to sit on top of this like a little bit. But that's all right. No one's going to get that close to notice that this billboard is a little bit offset. But now that you have your snapping point, you should be able to bring your billboards down like this. And yeah, I don't think we can build another one over here. But that's okay. That's close enough. Yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. And we can do some billboards on the outside as well, I reckon. Like this. And we'll use this cool square pattern for the outside billboards. Just to give it something a little bit different. Just like that. Now we want the light to sort of wrap around this nicely. So maybe we can use some signs for that. So we can do something like that. Looks pretty cool. And then we can probably wrap some signs around the outside of the wall. Just to make the wall look a little bit more intentional. Okay, I don't need this middle sign apparently. I'm just creating Z fighting. Does that look alright? Or does this little wall wrapper thing look a bit weird? I think that looks okay. Doesn't look too bad. Yeah, I think that's going to be the bottom half of our like sort of claw thing that goes around outside. So I'm just going to save this. We'll call it claw 1. Give it an icon. Set the directory into our corners directory. I don't know. These are more pillars than corners, but once again, I don't have a thing for it, so it's fine. We'll save the blueprint and then we'll make our second half of the claw. I'm just going to delete this part and I'm going to bring this to the floor. Now we want it to be 7 up. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we need to delete everything above here. So we'll get rid of all of that. Hopefully not delete anything in our background. We need to get rid of this stuff. And then we've got to do the same thing we did just then, but from the top. So we'll get our triangle. Get our double ramps. And then we'll get an inverted triangle for the top. And that looks pretty cool. Now we'll get rid of this one and we'll do our little pillar trick again to get the upside down billboards going. So that goes into there. Then we want a billboard to sit on top of here, rotate it, slide it into the wall like that. Get rid of the pillar. Chuck that back in. Get a bunch of them lined up to one another like that. And that should be almost perfect. We will, oops, that's the wrong one. Let me do these ones first while I've got that in my clipboard. Now there's going to be a little bit of a gap here, but that should be okay as well. We can always fill that in manually if we need to. Sometimes a little bit of a gap in your lighting doesn't look that bad. We'll have to see when we piece these two billboard bits together what it actually looks like. But we basically just want to paint it black. And that's our claw done. Just like that. Do we want billboards along the top here as well? Nah, I think this looks fine. This will be the top of our claw and we'll call that claw 2. We'll add it there and we'll just give that a save and then let's go test it out. I think this structure is going to look pretty cool sitting atop our roof over here. Get rid of all that. Get rid of these wall bits. Get rid of the belt. We'll redo the belt in a second. Now let's pull up our blueprint. We'll get that claw 1 going over here. Now it should be sitting 2 tiles out, so we'll make sure it sits properly because we're going to use this for alignment in the future. And then we'll get ourselves a claw 2 while that builds. And that should just sit in blueprint mode directly atop this. And that's looking fantastic. Let's see if I've done my maths correctly and this thing goes into the right height. And it does. Oh, that is looking amazing. Look at that. Beautiful. And then we can get like a lift going down here. And then we use belts, and these belts are decorative again as well, because these belts are so beautiful that we just want to show these belts off as much as we can. And then we can just bring that down here, and then we'll do something. And even that looks sick. Look, once you put the lift down each one of these things, they're all going to be nice and lit up. That's going to look so cool. Let's get another one of these on the other side just to see what that all looks like together. Get that lined up here properly. That looks pretty correct to me. Get that second claw above, rotate it into position, and boom. Nice and easy to build as well. And what do we think of that? Oh man, that looks really, really cool. I really like this. Imagine having all of this along here, like 10 of them. That would be freaking sick. Build another one. Will it tell me that you've lined yourself up nicely or not? Gotta make sure it's all lined up. There's the claw. Put a claw on the other side. Line that up nicely. Put the top bits in. Make sure that's rotated the correct orientation. I can't even tell. There we go. Oh yeah, this is so cool. I like this, and it's gonna like look really nice on top of the roof as well. It gives our little train cargo bay a nice looking roof. I think that looks pretty cool. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with this design. Let's run with it. Let's get those pillars across. If I just hold control, will it just tell me I'm in the right spot, hopefully? Once we see the blue line, we know we're in the right spot. There we go. That's the last one in. There's all of our pillars. Now we got to get our platforms in with the actual augmenters on them. Now they should just go straight on top of here without any sort of movement from me. So that makes it nice and easy to build. So we'll just slap down 10. Just casually slapping down 10 augmenters. No issues whatsoever. Yeah, check that. It looks so cool. Alright, now the hard part is getting these claws in. So I've got to go over here and just line them all up nicely. Make sure they're aligned and on the correct tile. It's kind of hard to see. It's a little bit annoying, but we'll just go in there, manually line that up. It's not too much work. Now, if you're following this series regularly, I'm thinking about taking a little break after this episode. This is a pretty major milestone for us. So I think after this episode, we can take a little break from this project. And, you know, I've been playing Satisfactory now. If you've been following the series, we've done the entire regular series. And, yeah, we've been doing a lot of Satisfactory. It's all lined up, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think we should take a little break, refresh our, you know, creative juices, and then we can come back strong and start working on the rest of our factory, because there's still plenty to do. But like with my Factorio series, after playing for 500 hours, I just feel like I'm getting a little bit lazy and uncreative and stuff, and like, it's just not, you know, there's still a lot to do, but I want to do more creative designs for the buildings rather than just doing the same thing over and over again. So it's always a good idea to take a break from what you're doing every now and then. So for the regular followers of the series, we might just you know, take a week off or something like that. If you're waiting for episodes and you're wondering why there's no new episodes coming out, that's probably why. But yeah, it is a great milestone for the project, because we do have we've spent pretty much the better half of the last 10 or 15 episodes building up towards this. We've grabbed every single basic material in existence to build this, surprisingly. I remember when I said, oh, you know, after we needed a little bit of power and we built our oil power station, we had 100,000 megawatts. It was like, oh, why don't we just build a couple of alien power augmenters to really squeeze out that extra juice? And then here we go, we ended up building this crazy processing chain to make alien power matrix. But we are finally done, so it's a nice little point for a little break. But yes, these are all the base cores in, and look at this thing. This thing's looking crazy and awesome. Alright, let's get the tops in. The tops should be much easier to build. So we should be able to just blueprint our way through this. Find a nice snapping point for the blueprints, and then we'll just chuck them on. Oops, that's not where that goes. But it's nice to finish with such a cool little build. Oh man, this is so hard to build. The blueprint snapping point for this is like a little bit sensitive. But we got that in. Oh, check that out. I think that looks tremendous. Even with a little break in the thing, I don't even mind it. It looks pretty cool. We don't even need to go and fix it. Because we could have just added a light thing in there, but the break looks pretty cool. I think that looks pretty fantastic. I know there's like an extra bit over here that is not being used, but I don't know. I don't really mind that. We could go in and amend all that, but that's fine. What do we think of that, guys? That is a crazy cool looking contraption for our alien power augmenters. I dare someone to come into my multiplayer and run through this central bit right here. I think you'll die. But yeah, alright, that's cool. Let's get the belts in for the second one. We only have enough alien power matrices to support 2. So we can only do 2 of these, but that's fine. Eventually in the future we will have more. It is a mega factory at the end of the day. Once we grab all the resources from the rest of the map, I don't see any reason we can't expand upon this alien power matrix build. But before I consume all of the resources on the map just to make alien power matrices, we need to make sure that we actually consume the 2 from here, and we actually have enough materials to make the rest of the stuff we want to make other than alien power matrices. And then we can take all whatever's left in the map to make the rest of the alien power matrices. So that's looking all good. Why is my things stopped? Of course, because I'm not consuming the matrices. Time to get rid of this stuff. Clear the blueprint design up. Get rid of that. And let's start powering up some of these too with alien power shard things, matrices things. Gotta get a split up. Now at some point this is gonna come into the floor, but then we can split it like this. And I don't even mind this belt just being on top like this. I think that looks pretty okay. It's on the sidewalk anyway, and the belts look beautiful, so I don't really care. Get that into the floor. Clear this out. Get rid of these. Get this belt into the floor as well. Probably in the right spot would be nice. And that clicks nicely into the floor. Now we just need to join these 2 belts. So we'll get that going out along the ceiling. That going in a straight belt. And we want it to... Where's my other hole? I did put a floor hole here, didn't I? Oh, it's a little bit further out. There it is. And we'll just get that going in there like that. And I think that will be plenty. Alright, we've got our alien power matrices powering up 2 of these. And now we need to actually connect all of the power. So we can put power poles like right next to it and then get a power cable running along here, but I think that would ruin the aesthetics of it. So let's just put a power point underneath. And now it's connected to power. Fantastic. And that line doesn't look like it's going anywhere, so that's good. Let's connect all of these to power. I love that sound effect when you connect the power on an alien power matrix. It's like dung. I don't know if you can hear it. I keep my game volume pretty low so that you can hear the commentary. And there it is. That's the last one. Now we just have to join them all together. I can hear them, like the machines mumbling and groaning as I connect out all their power together. Oh, these machines sound very alien and awesome. Now this last one needs to go into the grid. but where in the grid do we bring it? Now it's on this line, so maybe we can just bring it directly down underneath into our station. Directly underneath into the station is straight into a light, isn't it? So maybe we'll just bring it over here somewhere first. That won't look too bad. I can't be bothered dismantling my light to get this over. And then we'll just bring it to the ceiling over here, and then we'll just bring it down so it doesn't look like it's running a crazy amount. Can I do the thing where I put in a power thing in between here? No, I can't. I need to like manually do this. So we'll bring that down in line with that, get that in there, get that into wherever that was going, I think over this side, and make sure everything's properly powered. And there we go, our alien power main augmenters are all online now. That looks fantastic. Let's see how much power this is giving us. This must be giving us a tremendous amount of power. Find a power pole. Wait, we can look at the power from the actual machines, can't we? Holy moly, look at that. This is spiking and doing crazy things, but eventually when it evens out, oh my god, it's boosting us with 220,000 megawatts of boosted power. That is insane. That is so much power. I don't know what I would possibly do with all that power, but... And why are both these machines fully saturated now? I think I just had like way too many alien power matrices. This is consuming 5 per minute, right? Yeah, it is. But yes, that is our build pretty much completed, and that is a lot of bonus power. I'm glad we didn't do all that for nothing. We are currently consuming 50,000 megawatts, but we are producing 350,000 megawatts. That is absolutely insane. Now, the astute among you might be thinking, why don't we summer sloop these 4 machines? For that, we would need 16 summer sloop, right? We would need 16 summer sloop because they take 4 each. And then we'd get double the amount of power matrices out, and then we can boost up 2 more machines. And, well, we've built 10 because we had 106 summer sloop all up. But if I were to just dismantle, say, this last one and just have 9, I could boost up 2 of them and double it. But we won't do that for now because I don't want to resort to using summer sloop yet. We might want to double this up later at some point. But that is definitely an option that we can do if we just need a quick boost in power. I don't think we're going to need that boost in power because our next phase is going to be nuclear power, right? And these machines are a percentage boost. So imagine once we have like 200,000 megawatts of nuclear power, this boost is going to go up to like 400,000 or something crazy like that. But I think these 10 augmenters are pretty cool. The other thing is, we don't know how many augmenters we're going to end up with, because at the end of the day, this is all our summer sloop from the entire map. So if we want to boost some of our other machines in the future, we're going to have to start dismantling some of these. But for now, we'll just leave the 10 as is, and we'll deal with that when the time comes. Look at our little drone flying across our factory. But yes, I think we should break this series into different phases. And we'll consider this phase 1. Phase 1 is just to get preliminary power into our factory. And now we have 360,000 or 350,000 megawatts of preliminary power in our factory, which is fantastic. It will definitely drive all our future ambitions for the time being, and definitely getting us to nuclear power with no problem. And once we get nuclear power, we can try to boost our power output to like 1,000,000 megawatts or whatever it is. And then that should definitely allow us to finish whatever else we want to build in our factory without any issues. But I think this marks the completion of phase 1. Look at our cool factory. We've got all of our basic materials done. It's definitely got that cool city vibe going. And our city block design is working out fantastic. Phase 2 is going to be, like I said, nuclear power. It's going to be a whole thing. We're going to need to build out all our production stuff on this side. All our basic materials like rotors and motors and electromagnetic control rods and whatever else is required for nuclear power cells. And then our phase 3, once we have our nuclear power, is going to focus on just building the rest of our space elevator components and whatever. Just basically finishing our factory, so our factory is actually producing every single component in the game. But we've done fantastic work for the first phase, and I think we'll leave it there for a while. Like I said, we'll take a short break from the series. We've been playing way too much Satisfactory. In the meantime, I'm going to be playing Microtopia, which is a fantastic little factory game for ants, and it replaces the conveyor belts with ant trails, and you have to manage this colony of futuristic ants. If you haven't seen it yet, just go check it out. It's called Microtopia. I've got a Let's Play started on my channel. I'm probably around halfway through the game at the moment. It is really cool. I definitely recommend the game. It's been very fun so far. But for my Satisfactory viewers that are waiting for episodes, we'll be maybe a couple of weeks break before we get back to this. Once I finish Microtopia in a couple of weeks, we'll definitely be getting back to building our little megafactory. But this is definitely a great place to take a little break. So we will be back with more episodes in a few weeks. If you don't want to miss out on that, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video, whenever that is.